this is the first of our webinars in a series of webinars around appreciative inquiry. So this just gives you a little taste, like a little taster of what AI is. Some of you might know more than others. Some of you might have had more of introductions to it. But we really want you to kind of really like live. It's very experiential, so we capped the numbers and kept them quite small so that you can have a taste of the resources and really experience those. So really what I'd really like you to do is, if you've got a camera there, and I can see lots of your beautiful faces, which is awesome, so if you do have a camera, could you please pop that on? I'd like to see more of you, and I do understand if you don't have a camera. But we really want to hear from you throughout this as well. So we'll be asking you to share if you don't mind. So then you just keep your mics on mute and then just take them off just for background noise when you share. And we're also going to have a look at the chat function as well. So feel free to use the chat function too. And also there'll be QR codes at the end. So have your phone ready for those QR codes. So like I said, we're going to introduce ourselves and then we're going to get you guys to introduce yourselves. So if you could just move on the slide a minute, Jules, please. And we're going to introduce ourselves and start with this idea of an instant delight. And that's something that's sharing something that's meaningful for you, that's kind of something that gives you a delight in the moment. So what we'd like you to do is introduce yourself and tell us something that gives you this instant delight. I'll go first. So my name's Ali Fowler. I'm a nurse manager for South East Sydney Local Health District in Quality and Culture Initiatives, working with Louise and Julie that are here. And something that always gives me an instant delight is my puppy at the moment. He just smells so good, and I just want to like nuzzle him and like stick my head in his fur, and yeah, it just kind of soothes me. It's not good for my allergies, but it's like my little instant delight. So maybe I'll get Louise to go and introduce herself, and then she can pass it on and share her instant delight.
Thanks, Ali. Some of you know me in the space. I recognise some faces on, but for those of you that don't know me, I'm Louise Connolly, and I'm currently in the role of midwife mentor facilitator, working within the nursing midwifery practice and workforce unit. An instant delight for me is actually I am going to an 80s, 90s sort of boat cruise party on the weekend, and I managed to nip out on my lunch break and get myself a set of crimpers. So I'm super excited because I've got a picture of Jodie Foster on my phone with crimped hair that I'm channeling. So I'm hoping that it turns into an instant delight and it looks the part. But yes, I was delighted that I managed to get myself some crimpers, because I don't really think they're sort of out in too many places at the moment. So yeah, I'll throw to Jules actually to share her instant delight.
Hi everyone, so I'm Jules Aquilina, as Lou and Ali mentioned. I work with them in the Nursing Midwifery District team. I think my instant delight today was I woke up super early, which was a bit annoying at the time, but then I was able to get up, do my thing, go to the gym, and then be ready. When I looked at the time, I realised how early it was, and it was just a massive bonus for my morning. So will I pass on to someone else? Yeah, I'm just going to go with my screen. So Laura, I'll throw over to you.
Hi everyone, my name's Laura Fagan. I also work in the nursing and midwifery practice unit down here with Louise, Al and Jules. My title is Nurse Manager for Leadership Development, and I also work 3 days a week in ICU as a CNC here at Sutherland Hospital. And my instant delight was I'm going to use one from yesterday, but I got into a bed with fresh sheets yesterday and it was very nice, like nice clean sheets. It's nice to get into bed with.
Thanks, Laura. You want to
throw
throw to someone
else? Just trying to see on my screen. Beatrice, you're the next one I can see.
I'm so glad you said that because I love fresh sheets. It's so good. Yeah, another instant delight. But for me, I like my coffee like really hot, and there's nothing better than that. Just that first taste when it's still really warm, and it's just like, I'm ready to start the day. So that gives me a lot of joy. And I will throw on Andrew Lawson.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm the Head of Department for Physiotherapy at Sutherland Hospital. And I'm just trying to think of an instant delight. The instant delight is driving into the car park of my favourite surf spot and having a look out and just seeing fantastic surf. That gives me instant delight. I'm going to throw to next on the list, Dan Shaw.
Thanks, Andrew. Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Shaw. I work in the District Nursing Midwifery Practice and Workforce Unit, and I'm fortunate enough to work in the role of Nurse Manager for Patient Experience across the LHD. And my instant delight was this morning. I challenged myself to get up and go for a run. And as I was running along the esplanade at Cronulla, the sun was just peeking up over the horizon, and that moment where just the edge of the sun just comes up over the water always fills me with such beautiful joy and wonder. So that was my lovely instant delight for today. And I will hand over to Jasmine.
Thanks, Dan. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Collin. I'm the acting nurse manager for professional development and clinical support here in Sydney Eye Hospital. My instant delight is actually this morning. So I just love the, that feeling that I felt this morning when I was like going to work, heading to work actually, and I was in the bus and the sunshine, the ray of sunshine was just really, really refreshing. And yeah, it just gives me, like be grateful, makes me feel grateful, to be alive and, and witness the sun. So yeah, that's my instant delight. And I'll pass this to Sam.
I knew you were going to choose me. Hi, everyone. I'm San. I'm acting CNC for ED and Disaster at Sydney Hospital on secondment from St. George. So I would say my instant delight is it's very much following the last two, but I'm such a sunrise and morning person. And this morning I got up and went to the gym, and just like halfway through the workout, I looked outside and it was so bright and light. And by the time I finished my workout, I realized it was only 6 o'clock in the morning and I still had so much of the morning to be productive for the day. So yeah, big thumbs up about that. Okay, so everyone on my camera screen has gone. I'm just trying to see who has not that. I can't really, I can see, is it Tat? Tat? You can go if you like.
Thank you. I'm Tat. I'm the Chief Nursing and Midwifery Information Officer for South East Sydney. I'm going to undo all of your excellent work with I've been up looking at the sunrise stuff because my partner's been on leave for the last 4 weeks. And so I've been up every morning before her. And this morning she had to get up before me. And I had that moment of delight where I got to turn over and go back to sleep and she didn't. So that was my absolute sunrise. Can stay over there just for this morning. I'll look at it tomorrow. I will throw to Sally Watts. Oh, although she's only got chat. Do you want?
That's okay, Sally. Do you want to put your instant delight in the chat box? And maybe we can. I'm going to throw to Lucy just while we wait for Sally, if that's okay.
No worries. I'm I'm Lucy Haver. I work with the nursing and midwifery team as well as the district falls coordinator. My instant delight was this morning getting my free coffee, thanks to actually getting one for Dan. So I then got a free coffee myself. So I'll pass to Liz Mason. I think she's online.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Liz Mason, the manager of the Clinical Governance Unit at Sutherland Hospital. My instant delight is also this morning when I went out to walk my very active 10-year-old Kelpie Cross-Border Collie, and the reaction that you get from him is just gorgeous. He's frolicking around, so excited to be going on his walk that he doesn't always get every morning, but this morning he did, and he was loving it. Just puts a smile to your face. It's gorgeous. Okay, I will hand over to Kathy Topham.
Hi everybody, it's Kathy. I'm the educator in Kalara Acute. This morning we were sitting in the auditorium having our morning tea, and one of the security guards poked his head through one of those new bushes, and oh my god, we nearly jumped through the roof, but it was funny. It's I know, it's just like nice to have some laughter and outside of work stress in that small time that we have, you know, enjoying our coffee. So yeah, it was really fun. So yeah, that's about it.
Kathy, I'm just going to jump in before you throw to someone, Kathy. Sally's just responded with her instant delight, which was not being woken up by her 2-year-old. Yay! So Kathy, feel free to throw to someone else.
I'm looking at the list. I can't see who hasn't been on my list. Is Emily here, Matthews?
That's okay. I have the list in
hard
front
to
of
see.
me.
If you've got the list, you could.
Oh, yeah, I'm Emily. It's McKinley. Do you want me
Oh,
to go?
okay. Yep, perfect.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily, the New South Wales Telestroke CNC based at Prince of Wales Hospital, and I'm currently in Western LHD on a site visit in Orange. And Orange is a very nice wine region as well. So my instant delight is having a glass of red wine, which after work, when we'd been in the hospital as a team, we went and had a glass of red wine. So that always brings me lots of joy.
Lovely.
Who else is there left to throw to? Have we got everyone? Was I the last or?
We have
Wendy.
Yep.
Wendy, let's throw to Wendy.
Hi guys, I'm the clinical nurse consultant at Sutherland Hospital for Cardiac Rehab, and one of my delights is taking my 16-month-old grandson out into the backyard and watching the delight on his face as we discover bugs together. Anyone else?
How about Jeremy?
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Jeremy. I'm a recruitment partner. Instant delight for me is getting updates on my nephew who's interacting with stuff at the moment. He's just turned 1, so it's nice getting updates about that. Is that everyone now?
No.
Karina?
Just coming off mute. Thank you. My instant delight is I've got an American staffy who is absolutely overjoyed whenever you walk through the door. So that's definitely my instant delight, watching electricity run through him, and it looks like he's going to break himself in half. He's so happy, and that, yeah, it's a real boost. That's it.
Thanks. I'm just looking here and I can see. Yeah, Jules, what did you say? Trang?
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 Or the other person is Susan Coleman. I think that's the last person on the list.
Hi, I'm Susan Coleman. I'm the nurse educator for drug and alcohol service for the district. My delight is my daughter who lives in the US, who rang up last night at 2 a.m. to ask me if this nude lipstick looked nude enough. And it was really good. There was a bit of distance between us.
That's funny.
Thank you.
Is Trang there? I think Trang's the last person, unless there's somebody else. Is there missing somebody else?
I think that's us.
Great, thank you. So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing your instant delights. There was lots of common threads there, like morning people and dogs and coffee, fresh sheets, surf, like, yeah, all of these things that kind of make us feel good. Is there anything else that people noticed? This is an appreciative inquiry tool by Belinda Dewar. Is there anything that anybody noticed about that? Who would like to share about that tool? Dan?
Thanks, Ali. I think what I noticed was just seeing everyone's face light up on the screen, and it was really nice. It just helped to connect you with other people in a really informal and fun kind of way. So I really enjoyed that element.
And it's good to get to know the people that you're actually talking with. You know, quite often you jump on these meetings and you know no one and you have no context. So it's kind of humanizes it a little bit more, helps build connection.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, San. Yeah, it is. It's about that human connection. You get to know the people behind the face, get to know them a little bit more by using a tool like this. And it's also around appreciative inquiry that Louise is going to tell you more about in a moment, just about that the more that we notice these things appreciatively, it's like a muscle, the more that we keep looking for them, they grow and expand. So the more that we notice these good things, the more that we see them. So I might throw to you now, Lou, if that's okay.
Yeah, thanks, Ali. I just wanted to share as well, like similar to what you guys just said, I felt like there was a big connection in the group, but also there was so many people that I recognised. I'm going to sort of throw to you, Andrew, because I see you all the time around the campus and like around Sutherland Hospital, but I never knew that that was your name. So that was really nice to sort of connect with that. So yeah, thanks for sharing, guys. So yeah, as we move,
next time.
yeah, you're often enjoying the sunshine sitting on the grass, which is nice. So we'll just move into appreciative inquiry and sort of, I guess, begin our introduction and taste tester, if you like, of appreciative inquiry. And how we're going to do that, hopefully, is bring you through a bit of an experiential learning that we'll build upon as we move through the webinars. Appreciative inquiry, if some of you are familiar with it or not, is a powerful way of bringing about that cultural development and collaborative change in the workplace. And what we find is it enables processes to be used and developed in any aspect of practice, really, and improve the experiences of staff, of patients, consumers, and their families. There's a huge focus on relationships, which was lovely that we just shared and connected a moment ago. And we know that this is a really good way of promoting learning in the workplace. Appreciative inquiry originated with David Cooper-Ryder, and it's a strengths-based approach with a focus on what's working well and how we can do it more of the time. And a lot of the work that we've been focusing on and familiar with is around the complementary and adapted work of Professor Belinda Dewar. And she has extensive experience in working with appreciative inquiry in the healthcare setting. The approach focuses on exploring ideas around what people value and what they do on a daily basis, and then working out ways how we can build upon this. It's not always about feeling positive, but rather acknowledging how we feel and then discovering what's possible from that. Appreciative inquiry is underpinned by 7 principles, which we are focusing each of the webinars on. But as you'll see, they all dance in and out and overlap in everything that we do. But it helps to guide us to see with an appreciative lens. So yeah, Jules, do you mind bringing up the principles? And also all of the tools in our facilitation hopefully will help the principles and that sort of underpinning methodology of appreciative inquiry to pop. So as you can see here are some of the principles that we follow. And if we look at words create worlds, that's really a focus in tuning into language and how it lands with people. You know, what and how we say and the language that we use has an impact, and sits within that. What we focus on grows and expands. If we often talk about problems and what's not working, and we look at that deficit, we're sure to find more problems and more deficits. And it's the experiential learning where the principles begin to embed. So if we just think of the example of using that instant delight there, really what we were doing in our connecting was sharing our stories and sharing our experiences, that we're all experts of our own experiences in that moment using that tool. And that's what's enabled us to feel, I guess, connected, especially in the virtual space. So just bringing you into, that's the sort of what, if you like, but bringing you into the how of how we do that is using the Caring Conversations framework that you can see here. And again, some of you may or may not be familiar with this, and we've used it in our work as well. So we use appreciative questions to support people through conversations, and this enables us to explore and discover, if you like, more of their perspective rather than assuming that we know based on our own experiences. So the Caring Conversations framework here, like I said, helps us discover possibilities and ideas rather than dwelling on the negatives. This Caring Conversations framework was developed by Belinda Dewar in 2017. And again, like I said, it really is the how of AI and how we sort of follow that relationship-centered practice that we're working with, where we work together to really encourage and sustain genuine curiosity for ourselves and others. It helps us to deepen that inquiry and curiosity and acknowledge and express emotion without dispute or judgment. And it aligns with the belief that relationships are at the heart of learning and growth. And we know that that's something that needs to be nurtured and developed. So we use this approach to create the spaces and the conditions where that can happen. And we can support those different attitudes to risk taking, devising new approaches to the problems that maybe come up by supporting that with curiosity around what's possible. So throughout the webinars, we will continue to use these tools, like I said, and you will experience the C's of the Caring Conversations to emphasise the principles. So I'll throw over to Ali and we'll take you through a little bit of an experience of using the Caring Conversations.
Thanks, Lou. So the focus of today, then, we will just use 3 of the C's. So so from the framework, we'll talk about the celebrating, the connecting emotionally, and becoming curious. So we'll start with celebrating. So that's up there on the screen that you can all see. So celebrating is about noticing something that's touched us. In order so that we can express it and celebrate it outwards. So it's noticing it and being able to express it and celebrate it. So there's 3 questions there on the screen. So have a look at those, because in a moment what we would like you to do is just have to just share on one of those. So one that maybe jumps out at you, or that that you can talk to, that kind of you notice and you want to speak and share about that. So maybe just choose one. So we've got, what compliment could I give myself about what I do well? Who brings out the best in me? And when others give me compliments, it really helps when they. And I'll start. So I'm going to go with the third one, which is, when others give me compliments, it really helps when. And for me, it's when they notice the really little things that, like, I probably don't even notice and I don't even see them, but when they can really tap into those really little things and then and say that to me, it really helps me reflect and kind of use those things as a strength, and it makes me feel good. So I might move on to you, Lou, please, for you to share just one. Thanks.
Yep, no worries. I think I'm going to go with the same one as Ali. And when I think about when others give me compliments, it really helps when they're specific. So similar, you know, those key things that I guess, you know, lift you up and light you up and that you can connect with. And it's really nice when maybe they're things that you've maybe not sort of thought were your strengths in the first place and things like that. So yeah, it helps when people are specific around their compliments for me. Does anybody want to jump in, or will we just kind of throw it to a few people, and you can put them in the chat box as well? Anyone who feels that they would rather use that? Might go to you, Jules. Maybe if you want to share something.
I think who brings out the best in me, I love being around people that I find really inspiring. So they share ideas or share their insights, or they might challenge me and, you know, be curious and ask me some questions that really make you think. I think they're the kind of people who bring out the best in me.
I can jump in, Jules.
Thanks, Laura.
Stay on the same topic. So similar to you with the best in me, I like to be around people whose strengths aren't the same as mine. And I feel like that really allows me to kind of grab onto their strengths and learn a little bit more and learn different ways that I could tap into different areas that maybe I don't practice regularly. So I like being around people who have different strengths.
Laura?
Happy to
Sorry,
jump
Lou,
in.
did you say something?
No, I just heard Dan.
Oh.
So the same for me is the who brings out the best in me. And I thought about it specifically, and there are a few people, but the two that bring out the best in me, I think, are my beautiful partner. We're a bit yin and yang, and he brings out the relaxed, fun, vibrant side of me. And the other one's my 5-year-old niece, who brings out my silly, playful, kind of silly, laughing, giggly side. So that's what I love about spending time with the two of them. They bring out those elements of me that I don't. Yeah, they're unique to the two of them.
Thanks, Dan. Emily's just put in the chat. So who brings out the best in me? The patients. When you get a compliment from a patient, it makes me smile and celebrate the work that we do. Thanks, Emily.
I've got a couple of mates who whose positivity is absolutely indomitable, and they bring out the best in me in being able to see, you know, at least put a positive spin on something, if not be able to, you know, take an absolute positive out of it.
Thank you. Anyone else want to jump in or share? I'm waiting 7 seconds.
Mine was similar to Andrew's in that it was other positive people. I find that negativity tends to bring me down. But when I say, like, I prefer to be surrounded by other positive people, but in a realistic way. So that positivity that is realistic and not, you know, something that's unachievable.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to jump in and share or pop in the chat?
I just see San just shared there, Ali, around when others give me compliments that are specific, so similar in that sharing, and a bit of a story with a clear example of what they saw and the impact that it had. Absolutely. Because when we know what it is, we can do it more of the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I might move on to the next one if that's okay. So connecting and emotionally. So this is around really sitting with the emotion and preventing from moving on too quickly from what is being felt. So really kind of, I think sometimes we rush on, and it's just like about really sitting with that emotion. So the questions are: the emotion I would like to feel more of the time is, and what helps me to ask others about how they feel and listen in a way that does not try to fix things. So for me, the emotion I would like to feel more of the time is when I feel calm, when I feel confident, when I feel safe. And I think I need to kind of just sit with that when it happens and really kind of just think about what is it that's making me feel that way. So then I can harness that when I'm feeling not those things. So when I'm feeling a bit stressed and overwhelmed and all of those kind of things. Yeah. Louise?
Yeah, thanks, Sally. What helps me to ask others about how they feel and listen in a way that does not try to fix things? For me, this has been something that has grown and developed over time, but it really is going back to that pausing, because often I feel for myself anyway that when people are sharing and you kind of kick into fix mode, it's often about me, or maybe not being comfortable in the space of not trying to help. And I guess sometimes that shifts it into not being about that person's experience. So for me, I really try and pause and just try and sort of listen really and be curious as to what would sort of work for them. So yeah, pausing helps me, and connecting with myself really and understanding what's going on for me in that moment and why I feel I have to make the jump. Yeah, I'm going to go with Dan because I can see you nodding. And you're the first picture I can see.
I love all the feels. I love to feel all the feels. I think the emotion I'd like to feel more of the time aligns with yours, Ali, that calmness. I think when I'm feeling the opposite of that, I focus on the fact that I'm feeling the opposite of that and not kind of acknowledging I'm not feeling calm. And identifying what's causing it, I go into a bit of overdrive and start to try and it freaks me out a bit more if I realize I'm not being calm. So identifying what's triggering that and sitting with it.
Thanks, Dan.
Lou, I was going to say that I'll probably back onto something that you just the one that you did as well, which is that it's something that I think a lot about with my children. It's that kind of parental pause, but I think it's something that's universal, which is that almost sitting in the mud with someone and just listening and almost being comfortable with their discomfort and not trying to fix. So, and it's definitely something that I've had to try and work on as well, where it's just being comfortable to listen.
Thanks, Lucy. I'm just noticing in the chat box as well, Sally shared there around the emotion she would like to feel more of the time is satisfaction. And Tat's just shared there as well around feeling more contentment. And I think a lot of people could probably relate to often sort of being in the middle of things, as Tat said there. One thing resolved, it gets lost in the noise, and other things go on. So a sense of contentment and achievement is blurred. So thanks for sharing, guys. Anyone else? Just see there, Emma's just responded as well. The emotion I would like to feel more of the time is patience, giving time for things to take their natural path. Thanks, Emily. Anyone else?
Just Suzanne, I'd like to roll out a whole health program completely one time without it getting swamped by other programs. Just feel like work comes in on top of another and never kind of complete. a rollout of anything. I'd love to have that feeling of when that used to happen.
So that feeling of a sense of completion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you. Right. Maybe jump on to the last question, Ali, what do you think?
Okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So the last of the C's, just of the framework that we just wanted to have a think about, is the one about becoming curious. So optimistic wondering that goes beyond a quest for information. I love that. So it's about really, you know, that being curious about what the other person is saying, and really using your questioning and your listening skills to kind of like dig a bit deeper and really kind of not be superficial, but really get to know that person and what they're trying to say, or see things from their perspective. So I'd like you to share, if you could, just one of these. So once again, anything that pops out for you when I go through these, or when you read them on the screen. So what might help me to stay listening when I want to go on talking or already feel I know the answer? When I realize I've made an assumption, I would like to. And what helps me to consider different views or different feelings. And the last one for me, I was having a chat with a nurse manager yesterday about that. We were talking about that, what helps me to consider different views and feelings, because we're saying about how, you know, we're often so in the moment and doing that, you know, we get carried away and we don't take that time to kind of see things through a different lens. We only kind of see things through our lens because that's the quickest and the easiest thing to do sometimes. And it's often, we were saying it's on reflection. And I know this for me, on reflection, that I think, oh, okay, yeah, maybe they didn't see it like that, or, you know, or didn't read it like that, or, you know. So I think for me, it's just about trying more and more to kind of think about that, to see things through a different lens and not just my own, and consider other people's different opinions and what they bring to the table. Or Louise?
I think I'm drawn to, when I realize I've made an assumption, I would like to own it and acknowledge that, you know, from us, that I've made the assumption. And I think just in this way of working and working with Appreciative Inquiry since 2000 and I guess 18, there's been a lot of sort of development in self with that. And I think when I realize I've made an assumption, it's remembering what that feels like, and that it's not about me sometimes, and that other person who's sharing, or their experience is theirs. And that just kind of helps me to connect with and know that potentially I've made an assumption and maybe I need to ask more questions around that. I'm going to go to Julie.
Thanks, Lou. I think what might help me to stay listening when I want to go on talking or already feel I know the answer, and I think I can have a natural tendency to do this, and working with Appreciative Inquiry has really shone a light on that. So it's just having that awareness, and what really helps me, apart from also noticing social cues that you've started to interrupt, it's just really drawing on your curiosity and reminding myself to just pause, and remember my role in that conversation is not to fix, not to tell, but it's actually just to listen, and listen closely with curiosity, to listen to what's really being spoken to. So I guess it's that self-awareness, and really trying to draw on that principle of curiosity that helps. I can't see anyone because I'm sharing my screen, so if anyone else wants to jump in, go for it.
Hey Jules, it's Emily. I just wanted to add on that one about the what helps you to stay listening, and a bit of what was mentioned before. I think it's the more you're in a good headspace and have good self-well-being, you're much more likely to be able to sit back and listen and take on board what other people are saying. If you're really stressed and feeling quite burnt out, it's actually really much harder to listen. So yeah, I think the things that help me is me being in a good place when I'm trying to listen to what other people are saying. Makes it easier.
Oh, I love that, Em.
So Sally has just said in the chat, when I realised I'd made an assumption, I would like to go back in time and start again. Yeah, wouldn't that be good if we had the time machine? Yeah. Thanks, Sally.
Sometimes you can find little statements that are part of active listening that help you to stay listening when you might otherwise want to interrupt. It might be something like as simple as tell me more, or you know, maybe just a little bit of reflection of what you've heard, just to clarify it. And I think that, yeah, demonstrates that you're listening, demonstrates that you're taking in, but also helps to get a richer story.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, guys, for sharing. Just maybe we'll move into the next part of the webinar. So really that's going back to the principles, and like we've said, this is around a taster. You know, ideally we would be in a space where everyone would be sharing, and that's part of the inclusivity of appreciative inquiry. So looking at the principles, I'm just wondering if anybody would like to share what they liked about that activity, if there's anything that they could share that they noticed around the questions and the sharing that we just had there.
Hi, it's San here.
Hi, San.
It's interesting, that last part with the 3 questions. I was thinking a lot of the focus with those questions was actually saying it's not about me. And like when I thought about how I would answer each of them, a lot of it came back to the focus that we put on ourselves in conversations rather than actually the other person. So, you know, hearing everyone talk about their different scenarios are all very relatable because, yeah, I've definitely been in those situations before. So, yeah, I think shifting the focus and how we all can relate to those situations, because maybe that's natural to default to that.
Yeah.
You've got to consciously not
Yeah.
go to those because it's the easy option.
Yeah. And curiosity in itself is a muscle. You know, you got to build it. You got to work with it, and keep practicing. And like you said, how you do that and how I do that is by trying to connect further with self. What is it that's happening for you in the space? And then sort of being able to pause in that. Yeah. Is there any principles that really popped for anyone when we were sharing there? Anything that's there that people connected with? Definitely for me, when we were sharing around the celebrations and who brings out the best in me, I heard a lot around positive people and being around positive influences. And that really connects with, you know, what we focus on grows and expands. And being in those spaces with people helps to shift us and bring us into those brighter spaces. I also heard a lot about celebrating other people's strengths and learning, and being around people who, I guess, inspire growth in ourselves. And a real big part of that for me, looking at the principles, is around stories are the soul of the organisation. People sharing their own experiences and their stories of leadership, whatever that is helping the development and growth of others as well. And just going into the curiosity, I'm just wondering if anyone had sort of asked themselves those kind of questions before or similar. I think, Shan, you shared there that something that just kind of connected with you there. So I'm making the assumption that was a bit of a new insight, or was it?
I would say it's things that I think about a lot.
Mhm.
I'm very mindful of it, but it doesn't mean I don't do it sometimes.
Mhm.
Especially, I'm incredibly reflective in my practice and these types of conversations. So it's more about being mindful or having insight into it, the way that you deal with it, and then reflecting back, going, "Oh, I could have probably done that a little bit better," or,
Mhm.
and that's where the shift of not making it about me and actually it's about who you're speaking with.
Mhm. Absolutely. And those curious questions of self are key because they're an action in themselves and what that sort of means, and it even just shifts how we might do the smallest thing. How can we do things a little bit differently? What's actually going on for me? And then that's the action, that's the ripple that can just shift us just in a tiny direction.
It's the 1%ers, you know, it only has to be small, but
Mhm.
slowly over time.
Yeah.
And I think for me, what really pops with what you just shared is that it's about the principle of we work with people rather than on them. So it's showing up for them and being there with them, sitting there with them, maybe asking questions to support them rather than us working on them and telling them you should do this. And do you know what I mean? Actually
Yeah.
letting them listen and explore, rather than doing onto them. So that's the principle that also popped just with what Sian was sharing.
Yeah. Thanks, Jules.
Yeah, Sally said in the chat it made her reflect on her own interactions. And she also said about the importance of being present, which goes with what you were saying, Jules. And Laura said the power of listening rather than talking.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing. So, you know, as we build upon this, as we move through the webinars, we hope that you can see how the principles pop with the tools that we use in order to sort of bring AI to life. So yeah, thank you very much for your sharing. And then I'm just going to throw to Ali as we sort of move into the end of the webinar.
Yeah, so thanks everybody. Thank you for sharing and being open. So just as a closing round, we'd like you can see some emotion words there on the screen. We'd just like you to pick one of the emotions that sums up how you're feeling about today's session and about this introduction to AI, what you think about AI. And this will be purposeful for us because it will help us to understand kind of where you're sitting at the moment with AI and help us to frame up some of our next sessions. So this is just going to be a silent round, so we don't need to unpack. It's just the word and an emotion word that you connect with at this moment in time. And for me, it is I feel hopeful. Louise?
Thanks, Ali. I feel energized, actually.
I feel encouraged.
I feel safe.
I feel fortunate.
Feel reassured.
I feel connected.
Just got Emily there saying she feels fortunate and Sally connected.
I feel encouraged.
I'll echo connected.
Beatrice is encouraged, reassured and hopeful. Trang valued. Thanks, Trang.
I feel reassured.
Thank you.
I feel a bit silly, but also a bit silly about feeling a bit silly. So I'm just going to put that out there as well.
I love that.
I feel relieved.
Thank you.
Me too, Wendy.
Anyone else? Okay, I just see here Dan has just asked where we can access the caring conversations. So all shall be revealed.
Right, thanks everybody. Maybe on to the next slide.
No,
Lou.
not yet, not yet.
Oh, sorry.
We're holding that to ransom so that we can get so we can get an evaluation.
It was an accidental double click, okay? Or a teaser of what's to come.
So thanks everyone for sharing, and that was a quick hour. I'm sure, well, I'm hoping that you guys got a lot out of it, and it's the first sort of taste tester of how we're going to sort of try and take you through a journey of appreciative inquiry and the way that we love to work. So we've got a QR code here. And we would love if you could just take a few minutes to fill in an evaluation just around your experience, the content, anything that you feel will help us in framing up the next 6 webinars. And as you can see, the next one will be on the 27th of October when we start to bring more of the principles and tools into the AI space for you guys, and you've got the My Health Learning Code there as well. And then once we have gone through the evaluation, we'll just share some additional resources and where you can find the caring conversations and all of that sort of stuff. We use a lot of the work from Belinda Dewar, and there's a website that will come up next with a lot of the tools and resources on it. And the tools and the resources all have a kind of a why, how you would use it, and maybe when you might use it. We'll just give you a few minutes to do that. That would be great. Give us a thumbs up or something if the majority of you could have sorted, and then we can move to the next slide. All right. I think most people are in the process of completing it anyway, so you have it up on your phones by the looks of the camera anyway. Yeah, I think so, yeah. So again, thank you so much, guys, for coming on and spending some time with us, and hopefully we will see you again along with some new faces as we move through the AI journey and have a look at these resources and things that we have to offer, and flick us an email, make contact at any time. We're always happy to be contacted and share and share more information and give things a go with you if you want to try something out. All right, so we'll leave this up for a little bit so you can screenshot it or whatnot. But thanks again. Thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks
so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.